And as we continue our video series, learning more about our membership vows, now we are on the vow of gifts. And so Pastor Jason is going to talk to us about what it means to commit to membership with our gifts.
Jesus speaks a lot about money. It's one of his most prominent themes. There is a story in the Gospel of Luke where Jesus is engaged with a crowd, and he's speaking about how people can come to discover God in God's fullest. And so there are a series of questions that come out from the crowd. And so in Luke chapter 3, you can read this story. The crowds answer him, "What then shall we do?" And Jesus answered, "Whoever has 2 shirts must share one with one who has none, and whoever has food must do the same." The tax collectors came to be baptized, and they said, "Teacher, what should we do?" And he said, "Collect no more than you are authorized to collect." Soldiers said, "What about us? What should we do?" And Jesus said, "Do not cheat or harass anyone, and be satisfied with your pay." You see, Jesus is suggesting to us, as I read it, that what we're talking about when we're talking about stewardship, when we're talking about our possessions, when we're talking about money, Jesus is asking us to reframe who owns it. We tend to think that we worked and we earned money and we own all of the things that we've worked so hard for. And there is a truth in that. And yet, the deeper truth is that Scripture points to the reality that all of this belongs to God. And that you and I, we are what are called stewards of all of those things. And so when we say as a church that we're going to uphold this place with our gifts, part of what we're saying is, yes, we will make financial contributions to the mission of God through the church. But we're also saying something way more profound and revolutionary. And what we're saying is that we are making vows, we're making commitments, promises to the church that we are going to live as Jesus calls us to live and take on a different perspective and a different understanding of ownership. What we're saying in this vow is that God, in fact, does own all things. And as stewards of those things, we hold them lightly and with deep care and responsibility. You might begin to imagine that over time, if we were to hold things tightly, my son, he has this teddy bear. It's a stuffed animal. He loves it. And he squeezes it so tight. And not long ago, he said, "I like to squeeze it so tight, I don't know where I end and my bear begins." And there's something sweet in that. It also is a little unsettling when we hold our possessions so tightly that we don't know where we end and our possessions begin. And in some ways, our possessions begin to possess us. And they have a grip and a hold on us. The practice of giving, stewardship, is the practice of holding things properly so that they cannot get a hold of us. To hold things in right relationship so that we are not misaligned or out of relationship. To hold things well so that we are not overcome by our possessions. And so, yes, we give of our financial resources in order to support the mission and ministry of God at Keller United Methodist Church. Yes. But we also do this for the personal practice of being liberated by our possessions. There's a reason why when we get older and everybody says, "I'm going to downsize," we all have attics full of things, and then we get a certain age, we're like, our possessions become cumbersome and heavy. And so Jesus says, if you have 2 shirts, give one. Do not collect more than you are required. Hold lightly what you've been given, for you are a steward of these things. And so at Keller Church, we take that seriously. And we ask all of our members to be good stewards of the financial resources, of the gifts, of the graces that you've been given. And one of those ways in which we practice right relationship is that we give of our money. Keller United Methodist Church also, as a corporate body, takes a portion of what is given to the church and actually gives that away so that the church itself is not held in possession of money. These things are called apportionments in the United Methodist system. The larger United Methodist Church around the world asks local churches to give of apportionments so that we can fund ministry around the world. It's the largest Protestant denomination that has a global reach. And so when you put money in the offering plate, or when you give online, some of that money goes to support missionary causes around the world, to alleviate poverty and suffering in different parts of the world that you and I will never reach, but the church is there. And so I give thanks and invite you to consider the ways in which you are supporting the mission and ministry of the church through your vow of gifts.
And so some things that we do at Keller United Methodist Church, every fall, we turn in commitment cards where you are saying, Keller United Methodist Church, I am committing to you in this coming year, and here is how I'm committing to you.
Right.
You can also give by texting. You can give online. You can give through snail mail by mailing in a check. Some people still do that.
Absolutely.
Or you can give in worship as we pass the offering baskets with one another. There are several ways here to give of your time and of your resources, and we look forward to joining you in this practice of giving.
Amen.